So good morning, everyone. We'll start with the second part of module 5. So yesterday we looked at eigenvalues and eigenvectors and how to calculate them. And before that, we've seen the basic properties of determinant and the LDU decomposition. Right? So today we'll look at another important concept in regard to determinants, that is known as diagonalization of a matrix. So how do you diagonalize a matrix? So basically diagonalization implies that the matrix will have only the diagonal elements and the other elements will not be there. That means they'll be zero. Right? So the process basically is to reduce the given matrix into its diagonal form. That means any matrix A which is given to us, that needs to be diagonalized into a matrix which will have only the diagonal elements. The rest of the elements must be zero. Right? So now if A can be related to the diagonal D, then that kind of a transformation is known as a similarity transformation. Okay, and the transformation goes like this: D, which is the diagonal, which you see on the right hand side, right? This D is equal to some P inverse A into P, right? So that P inverse and P, will see what they are. They are known as the modal matrix, and A is the matrix which is given to us. Right? So the diagonal D is a combination of the given matrix A, the modal matrix P, and the inverse of the modal matrix P. So in order to diagonalize any matrix, we will need the matrix itself, obviously, and we will also need the modal matrix, and then we will need to know how to find the inverse of this modal matrix. Right? So few important notes before we go into solving the problems. So the matrix P, as I just told you, which diagonalizes A, will be the modal matrix. So how do you form the modal matrix? It will be formed by grouping eigenvectors of A into a square matrix. Right? So point number 2 may not be very clear right now, but when we solve the problem, it should be clear. But obviously the procedure here will be to find the eigenvectors. Right? And the resulting matrix, the diagonal matrix, that is known as the spectral matrix of A. Right? So from the model question paper which video has shared, they've basically just asked you to find to diagonalize a given matrix A. So that is a standard question which you can expect in the exam. So the spectral matrix, that is the diagonalized matrix, this will have eigenvalues of A as its diagonal elements. Right? So that will be a check which we will implement to see whether our answer is correct or not. So whatever eigenvalues we find to find the eigenvectors, those will precisely exist as the diagonal elements. Right? And this kind of a transformation, this was mentioned before also, is known as a similarity transformation. Right? Okay. So before we go into a numerical, there is something that we need here, is how to find the inverse of a matrix. Right? So there are different methods how to find the inverse of a matrix. One of the methods which we can use is the cofactor method. Right? So that is what I've shown on this slide. So if A is n cross n matrix, that means if it is a square matrix, and Cij are the cofactors. So we can write the cofactors as it is written on this matrix on top. So you can write this as C11, C12, and so on till Cnn. And you first need to calculate the adjoint of this matrix A, and that is nothing but the transpose of matrix of cofactors. Right? So let's look at the problem which is written here. So we have been given a matrix A. It is a 3 cross 3 matrix. Right? So we find the cofactors first. Right? So examples are given of how to find the cofactors. So let's look at this. So the first cofactor which we are finding is C21. C21 implies the cofactor of the second row and the first column. Right? So the second row is this row, which is having -2, -6, 3, and the first column is 4, -2, 7. Therefore, C21 will be at the position where -2 is placed in matrix A. Right? So when I have to find the cofactor in that position, I will ignore that column. That means I will ignore the first column. I will ignore that row. That means I will ignore the second row. Right? Therefore, to find the cofactor C21, I'll be left with the elements 2, 1, from the first row, second and third column, and 5 0 from the third row, second and third column. Right? The other aspect in finding cofactors is that you have minus 1 raised to m plus n or I plus j, and I plus j is nothing but the row and the column. Right? So C21 will imply that minus 1 will be raised to 2 plus 1, which is minus 1 raised to 3, which will be minus 1. So, are you able to see the screen?
No, sir.
No. Okay, just hold on. Just give me a moment. There's something. Just hold on. There's a connection issue here. So we start here. I think this is where we had paused. So let's see how we can find the adjoint of a matrix and then how to find the inverse thereon. Right? So we are given a matrix A, and you have uh, the elements as 4 2 1 minus 2 minus 6 3 and minus 7 5 0. Right? So how to find the cofactors? Right? So I'm finding the cofactor C21. That means the second row and the first column. Right? So the second row will be minus 2 minus 6 3, and the first column will give me the element minus 2. Right? So I'm finding the cofactor at that place or that point. Right? So in order to find the cofactor which is corresponding to row 2 and column 1, I will ignore row 2 and I will ignore column 1. Right? So when I ignore that, you can see that what we are left with is 2 and 1 in row 1, column 2 and 3, and 5 and 0 in row 3, column 2 and 3. Right? So that is what is written in the matrix 2 1 5 0. And I was just saying that we have minus 1 raised to I plus j, right, to find the cofactor. So I is the row and j is the column, right? So we'll have minus 1 raised to 2 plus 1 in this case. So it will be minus 1 raised to 3, which is minus 1. So therefore you see a minus 1. Right? So from here you can find the cofactor. So this will be very simply minus 1 into minus 5, which is 5. Right? And then you can see that this cofactor C21 is written if you look at the matrix of cofactors, then that is written as 5 at the position 2 1. Right? So at the position 2 1 we are writing 5. Another example, if I want to find C23, right, C23 will imply row 2 column 3. That means the position will be here where 3 is placed, right? So I will be ignoring row 2 and column 3. Therefore, I will be left with 4 2 minus 7 5, and minus 1 will be raised to 2 plus 3, which is minus 1 raised to 5, which is minus 1. Right? So that answer comes to minus 34, and you can see that 2 3, the position 2 3, that is second row and third column, has minus 34 placed. Right? So likewise, you can find the other cofactors, and those answers are written here: C11, C12, and so on. And then you will have a matrix of cofactors. Right? Now, from this matrix of cofactors, if you want to find the adjoint, then the adjoint is nothing but the transpose of this matrix of cofactors. Right? So when you transpose this cofactor matrix, you will get the adjoint. So minus 15, minus 21, minus 52, which is the first row in the matrix of cofactors, will become the first column in the adjoint of A. Right? So likewise, you can find the adjoint of A. And once you have the adjoint of A, inverse of A is nothing but adjoint of A divided by the determinant of A. Okay? So A is given to us and we can find the determinant. And once I will multiply the inverse of the determinant with the adjoint of A, I will get the inverse of A. Right? So that's how we find the inverse of A. This is one of the techniques. Right? The reason why I'm mentioning this technique is because we'll be using this to find the diagonal of the matrix. Right? So let's see how we can find the diagonal for a matrix. So I'll share the PDF with you. Let me see. Let me know if you are able to view the PDF. Is the PDF visible?
Yes, sir.
Please stop writing on the screen. Okay. So we say the question is diagonalize the matrix, and the matrix A is given 6 minus 2 2 minus 2 3 minus 1 and 2 minus 1 3. Right. So the first step will be to find the characteristic equation for the matrix A. Right. So this is what we did yesterday. So to find the characteristic equation of matrix A, we first have A minus lambda I, and we know that lambda I is nothing but lambda multiplied with the identity matrix or the unit matrix, and identity or unit matrix will have 1 on its main diagonal. Therefore, lambda I will just have lambdas on the main diagonal, and when you subtract A with lambda I, all that will happen is the elements on the main diagonal of A will be subtracted with lambda, right? So you can see A, and then you can see A minus lambda I. So 6, which is the first element on the diagonal, will be 6 minus lambda. 3, which is the second element on the main diagonal, will be 3 minus lambda. And then the third element will be 3 minus lambda. Rest of the elements remain the same. And the characteristic equation for matrix A needs to be A minus lambda I equal to 0. Right? So from this part here, now you can find the determinant of A minus lambda I. So that is a simple process. So you'll have 6 minus lambda, right? We ignore this row and this column. So you'll have 3 minus lambda square minus of minus 1 into minus 1. So that will be minus 1. Minus of minus 2, which is plus 2. And you'll ignore this column and that row. So you'll have minus 2 into 3 minus lambda, minus of minus 1 into 2. And then plus 2 into 2 minus of 6 minus 2 lambda equal to 0. Right? And then you can do the arithmetic here. That's a simple process. And you'll end up with an equation which is in the power of 3. Right? So you'll have lambda cube minus 12 lambda square plus 36 lambda plus 32 equal to 0. And then here you'll have to find the values of lambda. So you can simplify this cubic equation into a power of 1 equation multiplied with a quadratic equation, that is a power of 2 equation, and then you will find the values of lambda. Right? So that those values of lambda turn out to be 2, 2, and 8. Right? So this is the first step that we did yesterday. This is how we find the eigen values. Right? The next step is to find the eigen vectors. Right? So in order to find or diagonalize a matrix, you will necessarily have to find the eigenvalues and the eigenvectors, and then proceed. Right? So now we need to find the eigenvectors corresponding to each eigenvalue. Right? So if you attended the class yesterday, you will remember that we solved problems, or I showed you problems where lambda was not repeating. That means we had lambda like 3, 2, and 5. So you had different values of eigenvalues. And I told you yesterday that we'll look at problems where there is repeated root. So this is one of the problems where the eigenvalues are repeating. That means you have one eigenvalue which is 8, and then you have two eigenvalues which are similar. Right? So today we'll see how to find eigenvectors when the eigenvalues are repetitive. Okay? Please make a note, when the eigenvalues repeat, you cannot ignore one of the eigenvalues. Both have to be considered, and we'll see how they will be considered. The meaning of this in simple terms is, if you have three eigenvalues, even if they are repetitive, you will have three corresponding eigenvectors, right? So you cannot drop one repeated eigenvalue. Like for example, you cannot drop this 2 and say I have only 2 eigenvectors. That's not possible, right? So you'll have to consider all the eigenvalues. Okay. So now we'll find the eigenvectors for each value. So we first consider lambda equal to 8, and in this matrix A minus lambda I, we substitute A minus 8i. Right? So all these values will become 6 minus 8, 3 minus 8, 3 minus 8. Right? So the matrix that you end up with is this matrix on the left hand side, and we know that and we know that X will have a structure of n cross 1 column matrix, and n here is 3. So X will be 3 cross 1 matrix. So you'll have x1, x2, and x3 equal to 0. So this equation is exactly A into lambda x equal to 0. So from this matrix here, we can find the value. So you'll have minus 2x1 minus 2x2 plus 2x3 equal to 0, and then minus 2x1 minus 5x2 minus x3 equal to 0. Right? And then you can apply the Cramer's rule or the cross multiplication and then find the values. This is something which we did yesterday. You can equate them to k, then k1, and so on, and then you'll find the first eigenvector. Right? So the first eigenvector, capital X1, corresponding to lambda equal to 8, turns out to be 2 minus 1 minus 1. Okay. Now we'll go with lambda equal to 2. Please keep in mind that there are two lambda equal to 2. Right? So let's see how we can solve it. So first up, we substitute the values of lambda in that equation, A minus lambda I. So this will become A minus 2i. And once you do that, you get this matrix. We know the structure of small x, vectors x. It is a 3 cross 1 matrix equal to 0. Okay? So from here, now you can write the equation 4x1 minus 2x2 plus 2x3 equal to 0, and minus 2x1 plus x2 minus x3 equal to 0. You can reduce them into a triangular matrix by doing these row operations. So from here, you can see that only the first row exists, the other two rows are 0. Okay? And then you can write the equation 4x1 from here, 4x1 minus 2x2 plus 2x3 equal to 0. Okay. Now here is where you have to be careful when you get repeated roots. Now when you substitute lambda equal to 2 again as the third eigenvalue, you will obviously get the same structure and same equation. Right? So again you will end up here only. So what is the trick here? For the first lambda equal to 2, you assume that let x1 equal to 0. Right? And once you do that, you will get 2x2 equal to 2x3 because x1 will be 0. So you'll have 2x2 equal to 2x3, x2 by x3 equal to 1, and therefore you will get an eigenvector. We call it x2, capital X2, which will be 0 because I'm assuming x1 is 0, and the others x2 and x3 are just 1 and 1. Right? So I'll get 0, 1, 1. For the other lambda equal to 2, because it is a repeated eigenvalue, I will let x2 equal to 0. Right? I will let x2 equal to 0. So when I let x2 equal to 0, what will happen? X2 here becomes 0. So I'll get 4x1 equal to minus 2x3. So therefore, I will get x1 by x3 equal to minus 1 by 2. Right? Or therefore, the eigenvector x3, I'm calling it the third eigenvector, will be nothing but minus 1. I have assumed x2 as 0 and x3 will just be 2 times of x1. Therefore, I write 2 here. Right? So this is how you will find the eigenvalue and the eigenvectors. And I have also shown you how you can write the eigenvector if you have a repeated eigenvalue. Okay. So this is only half the job done. Our job basically is to diagonalize the matrix, right? So the actual job starts now. So first we write the model matrix. Okay. So before we proceed, any questions? Any questions? How to find eigenvalue, eigenvectors? Okay. So if there are no questions, we'll proceed. Okay. So the first step in diagonalizing the matrix, we'll find the model matrix P. So the model matrix P is nothing but written with eigenvector values for each eigenvalue in the form of a column. Right? So we had lambda equal to 8, and for that the corresponding eigenvector was 2, minus 1, 1. You had eigenvalue lambda equal to 2. For that eigenvector we found here, right, 0, 1, 1. And for this, the next lambda equal to 2, we find the eigenvector minus 1, 0, 2. Right? So you write the model matrix in this. So obviously you can understand here that if your eigenvalue and eigenvector is wrong, the entire process goes. Right? So you have to be very careful. So this is the model matrix P, which is in the form of eigenvectors of each eigenvalue as each column. Right? Okay. So if you remember in the diagonalization, D is equal to P inverse AP. So A is already given to us. P we have found out. Now we need to find P inverse. Okay, so now you'll understand exactly why I showed you that previous problem of finding adjoint of A through cofactors and then multiplying it with the inverse of the determinant, right? So we need to find P inverse, and that is nothing but adjoint of P divided by determinant of P. So you can find the determinant of P very simply here, and that determinant comes out to be 6. Okay. And then the adjoint of P is nothing but the cofactor matrix which is transposed, right? So let me just give you an example. So let's say we pick out this 2 here. So this 2 is at position 1, comma 1. That means first row, first column. So if I want to find the cofactor at this position, right? So you will have the first factor as minus 1 raised to I plus j. So that will be minus 1 raised to 1 plus 1, which is minus 1 raised to 2, which is nothing but plus 1. Right? So we can keep that 1